My name is Phil Mooney. I'm Vice President of Heritage Communications at the company, and we're really excited about this particular presentation. This is a joint presentation of the Heritage team and the African American Business Development team. So we are really excited to have you all here. It comes at a really appropriate time. When we first started the Heritage Series back in 2009, we did it to try to give our associates a better understanding of the foundational roots on which our business is based. And today, you're going to hear from a person who is part of that history. And it's particularly appropriate that we have this presentation today because if you have been reading the news over the last few weeks, you notice that the New York Times ran an op-ed about a week and a half ago in which they accused the Coca-Cola Company of being racist. And I had the privilege of writing a response to that editorial in which we sort of pointed out some of the real history of our involvement with the African American community. So today you're going to hear from one of the people who was at the very beginnings of our print campaign. But even before that, our roots to the African American community are well documented. And so to introduce our special guest and to give you a little bit of background, early background of our involvement with the African American community, I'm going to ask Jamal Booker from my team to come to the podium to do a brief presentation and then to introduce our guest.
Thank you, Phil, and good afternoon. I'm a member of the Heritage Communications Department, but at the same time, I'm also a member of the African American Business Resource Group, so I'm doubly excited about this program today. And I'm excited that this is the first Heritage Series of 2013, but it's also the last Black History Month, so it's the event finale for 2013 as well. So I'll give you a brief overview of Coca-Cola's history with the African American market and the African American community. What I'm going to show you is an ad which is actually from 1904. So our print marketing campaign featuring African American models started in the 1950s, but we actually have an ad in the archives from 1904 which was in a Black newspaper. So our history goes all the way back to the very early days of the brand. There we go. So this is the ad from 1904, and what's interesting about this is sort of ironic. The ad right above it says Colored Man's Paradise. So maybe there's a connection there with Coca-Cola, I don't know. But that's from a Black newspaper in 1904. So that's just one example of many that we have that shows that Coke's been in the African American community. Another very special one is this is our founder, Asa Candler, our first president. He was actually a very close friend of the first Black pharmacist in Georgia, whose name was Moses Amos. And so what we've come to understand is that they had a relationship and they actually were very close friends. And Mr. Candler actually, gave Coca-Cola to Mr. Amos for his soda fountain and actually presented a big Coca-Cola sign outside the soda fountain as well. Not only that, but Mr. Amos also knew the inventor of Coca-Cola, Dr. John Pemberton. So not only does our history go back to even 1904 advertising, it goes back to the very founding of the product. So there are a lot of critics out there that might say otherwise, that Coke, didn't market to African Americans. We didn't have a relationship there. But come see your archives department if you ever get that, and we have the documentation that you need to set that straight. This is a picture of Mr. Amos's son's fountain in Atlanta. And if you see in the close-up, on the mirror behind him, there are actually Coca-Cola ads there. So this is a picture from 1930, and the piece that Phil mentioned said that Coke avoided the African-American community in the 20s and 30s. We've got tons of evidence just like this. But what you see is that the Coke ads are actually general market, so there weren't African Americans in those ads, which brings us to the reason why we're here today. In 1952, we started a campaign that featured celebrities endorsing the product Coca-Cola. celebrities such as the Harlem Globetrotters, Satchel Paige, and other athletes. But those were celebrities, they weren't models. So we call Miss Mary the first non-celebrity model, but in essence, she is the first model for Coca-Cola. The Harlem Globetrotters were entertainers, they weren't models. So we're here today to celebrate the first model. So what I want to do is roll a quick video that picks us up from here, that shows what we've done over the years in terms of African American marketing. After that, I'll introduce our moderators. So if we could roll the video, please.
It's the real thing
with James Brown.
in the back of your mind. What you're hoping to find is the real thing. It's the real thing. That's the way it should be.
Coca-Cola.
What the world wants to see
Oh, yeah.
is the real thing.
Coca-Cola.
People want to find life's good things.
Coca's real life.
See what real life can bring.
Things go better with Coca-Cola. Yeah, now.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. I like to buy the world Coke and keep it company.
Coke is it the most refreshing way to make the most of every day? And wherever you go and whatever you do, there's something big waiting for me and you. Coke is it.
The biggest taste you've ever found.
Coke is it.
Real thing, talking about the real thing. It's a hero, a friend, a smile you wanna see forever. It's all the moments with Coca-Cola Classic that can't be beat. The real thing can't beat the feeling. Can't beat the real thing.
Come on and lift me up, it's a brand new day. Open up a little happiness today. So I can be someone new. So I can be. Come on and lift me up to a better way. Open up a smile on another face. So I can feel something new. Open up some happiness. Open up some happiness. Open up some happiness. Open up some happiness.
So with that, I'd like to introduce our moderators for today. And first off is Kim Page. As Vice President, Sprite Trademark, Kim Page is responsible for developing the strategic vision, brand marketing strategies, and managing the P&L for Coca-Cola's third largest sparkling brand. Prior to her role on the Sprite brand, Kim led the African American Consumer Marketing Department, where she provided integrated brand strategies across the sparkling and still brand portfolio to maximize growth and relevancy among African Americans and other emerging segments. In 2011, Kim rejoined the Coca-Cola Company after 5 years of owning her own marketing consulting firm, Kickoff Marketing. Prior to consulting, Kim spent 3 years as Global Brand Director for Sprite. During her leadership, the brand experienced expanded its reach in key markets such as Africa, Asia, and Latin America and grew 12%, delivering worldwide record earnings. Kim joined the company in 1995 in North America as an associate brand manager on Nestea and was quickly promoted to brand manager on Barks Root Beer. From there, she was promoted to global brand manager, Indigenous Brands, where she was responsible for stewarding the company's portfolio of local brands in 200 countries. Kim began her marketing career in brand management at Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati, Ohio. She has a Bachelor of Arts from Howard University and an MBA from Clark Atlanta University. Please help me welcome Kim to the stage. And next we have Stella Ringer. Stella Ringer joined the Coca-Cola Company 17 years ago and is currently a senior brand activation manager for multicultural marketing. In this role, Stella develops and executes marketing plans targeted to African American consumers. She manages the relationship with the largest African American strategic property, the Essence Festival, and collaborates with channel and regional commercialization teams to ensure superior execution of African American programming in the United States marketplace. Before moving to marketing 6 years ago, Stella held several leadership positions in the Human Resources Division. She managed a team of recruiters to hire and retain candidates in various business units, led diversity recruitment as well. She attended the University of Alabama, where she received a Bachelor of Arts degree in communications and earned an MBA degree from Kennesaw State University. Please help me welcome Stella to the stage. And last but certainly not least is Mrs. Mary Alexander. I won't read her bio because I'm not going to steal her thunder. She's going to share her story with us, but I will say this. One of the posters featuring Mrs. Alexander is featured in the Milestones and Refreshment Gallery at the New World of Coca-Cola in Atlanta and is also a collectible item. She was the first African-American model for Coca-Cola, and I won't tell her age, but as comedian Steve Harvey once said about her, if that's what Coke can do for you, I'm a Coke man. So with that, Coca-Cola model, educator, and leader, Ms. Mary Alexander.
Thank you. Well, this is what Coke will do for you. I've been drinking Coke since I was 7 years old. So if you haven't started, you better start now.
I love that. Well, again, personally, just want to give you a huge welcome back to the Coca-Cola Company.
Thank you.
Your face is the first face that I see in my office. I have that photograph in my office, and it really is a source of inspiration. So again, just thank you for your time and all that you've done.
All right.
Oftentimes when we have these type of sessions, we ask a lot of questions, but before we do that, I would just love to open up the floor and see if you have any remarks that you'd like to share.
I would really like to just share a couple of things. I'd like to ask someone, I was reading your history, and I understand in 1886, when Coca-Cola was created, you sold 9 Cokes a day. I'd like to know today, how many Cokes do you sell in one day? Do you have any idea?
Phil, you should know that.
Mary, it's 1.8
Billion.
Per day.
Per day.
Now that's progress, isn't it? That's progress. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my progress. Now my son, he is trying to get me hooked up to the technology age, but I haven't quite made it yet. I'm not on, I have an iPhone that I don't know how to use, but I'm getting there, I just wanted to say I'm grateful, very grateful for the opportunity to be part of the history of this great corporation. Today we celebrate the history of all Americans, especially African Americans in this nation. And as all of you know, Black history was created in 1925 by a gentleman by the name of Carter G. Woodson. He wanted people to know that Black people we weren't Black then, we were Negroes. That Negroes were a part of history. So he created Black History Month in 1925. And I hope we can continue to celebrate this because of the many things that people have done in the past. A lot of people have given up their lives to make sure that African Americans are recognized and a part of this great country. I'm grateful to be here today to be a part of the Black history of Coca-Cola. How many of you were born before 1950? Oh my goodness. I'm only going to talk to one person, Mr. Mooney. Oh, my husband, that's right. I've got two people, Mr. Mooney and Mr. Alexander. Well, I just want you to know, as of today, well, it'll be in May, I was a part of the Coca-Cola family for 58 years.
Wow. Amazing.
That's great.
And I'm very proud of that. And this all happened in a campaign that they called the African American, it was a Negro market, I believe. It was a Negro market? Yeah, it was a Negro market. And this all began in 1951. They used African American athletes, but in 1955, Coca-Cola continued to fill the gap that Mr. Mooney talked about with African Americans, and then that's when they began to reach out to college students, and I was one of those students. I became Miss Clark in 1955, so somebody said, Mary, you had an edge on becoming, being a model for Coca-Cola. No, I didn't. It was because of the Dean of Women, who was instrumental in getting me involved. And she said that I needed to go down and apply for this job as modeling, but we'll get into all of that later. I was so very happy that Miss Martin recommended me for the job. And I'm so thankful for Coca-Cola for its longevity and support in not only embracing the minority advertising sector, but especially the African American market, and allowing more people like Miss Mary to come after me and be a part of this great corporation. After all, this is what we're called to do. We're called to make the road a little bit smoother and better travel for those people who will